you stopping smoking?
I am.
Good for you.
I've cut down. The book says not to do that until you finish the book.
Oh.
But I
But
figure
you are
if
a
it's,
contrary soul, and you're going to do whatever you want.
But well, I could talk to you about that. But basically, it's a very well laid out book to change the mentality of
I love that.
why do you smoke? Why do you want to have this cigarette as opposed to I need this cigarette?
Okay.
And so the first 2/3 are really just basically kind of deprogramming you, starting to get your brain to think in a different way, and then these are the things you need to do at the end. I've just started that part of it.
Good for you. Very cool.
But I can already feel the shift, so that's
Totally
nice.
not easy.
All right, we're just gonna dive in if you're all right with that.
I am all right with that.
Okay.
Are we framed?
We've been framed since we were kids.
This is true.
We
Fair.
are 90s kids.
This is true.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Editing Academy. I'm Daryl.
I'm Laura.
Laura, what is the year and what are the movies we're here to talk about today?
These are the movies that were nominated for the 2005 Best Picture: The Aviator, Finding Neverland,
There we go.
Ray, $1 Million Baby, and Sideways.
All right. Other notables this year, of course, I'm going to ask you the question of what the top 5, so
Okay.
pay attention. Other notables, Memories of a Geisha, Star Wars Episode 3, Kingdom of Heaven, Cinderella Man, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, War of the Worlds, Wedding Crashers, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, highly underrated.
I love that movie.
Capote, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Sin City, History of Violence, Waiting, which is a total indie movie, and if
I don't
you've
think I
never
know that
seen, it's
one.
all about the restaurant industry, and it is so funny. Early Ryan Reynolds movie.
Is Jennifer Aniston in that?
No.
Oh, okay, then I'm thinking of something else.
Okay. Hard Candy. I don't know if you've ever
Yes.
seen. Okay,
Yep.
that's like disturbingly good.
Yep.
Brokeback Mountain, Batman Begins, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So out of those, and including of course the ones we're talking about,
Okay.
what are the top 5?
So, Harry Potter,
Yep, that was number 2.
Star Wars,
Number 1.
Batman.
Batman
Batman Begins?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I did. May have missed one, so keep going.
Let's just say it's right. War of the Worlds
Yes, that was 3.
and Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
No, did not make it, but was very close to the top
Oh.
5. The 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all within like $200,000.
Okay. I'm surprised.
The
at
one I
that.
did not mention was The Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, okay.
That was number 4.
I don't think I would have guessed that, to be fair.
This one surprised me. Wedding Crashers, number 5.
Oh, I wouldn't. I might have guessed that one because I knew it did very, very well. All right. All right. So now I don't actually get the full list in order to guess the top.
You have to be
5.
intuitive.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm going to do my homework next time.
All right, so alphabetically I have The Aviator.
Let's do it.
The Aviator, directed by Martin Scorsese, written by John Logan, stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Blanchett, Kate Beckinsale, and Ian Holm, John C. Reilly, Alec Baldwin, Jude Law, Gwen Stefani, Kelly Gardner, Matt Ross, Willem Dafoe, Alan Alda, and Edward Herrmann. It was nominated for a ton: Best Picture, Director, Actor, Supporting Actor, Actress, Screenplay, Art Direction, Cinematography, Costume Design, Film Editing, and Sound Mixing. It won for Kate, I think this was her first Oscar.
Yep.
It also won for Art Direction, Cinematography, Costume Design, and Film Editing. Go with the one-liner and facts.
I forgot the one-liner.
Oh, no
I
worries.
did not do one-liners this time, but I have all the facts.
It's
been a while since we've done
I
this.
know, it's been a
Yeah.
month, basically. The Aviator is a very small section of Howard Hughes' life, and it chronicles his being a very successful businessman and then into his obsessive phase of his life.
Yeah. Great. Good one-liner.
Thank you.
So a couple of fun facts, one of which is Senator Brewster, played by Alan Alda, was a senator who hailed from Maine. The kind of depiction of him as a bad guy was a very good depiction. He is not one of our prouder sons, let's say. He ran for governor and was backed by the Maine Ku Klux Klan, so that's a hard sell. And when he eventually became a senator, one of his first friends and best friends was Joseph McCarthy. He was a big fan of McCarthyism. So yeah, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, that one is.
Yep. And
We've
then
had some really good senators,
we've had some amazing senators.
but that's definitely not one of them.
Yeah, he's going to go on the list. And then the only other thing I would say, which I found really interesting, was that for the war scenes, you know, for the scenes of the Hell's Angels war
Yeah.
that he was depicting for the motion picture, they used scale models rather than CGI, which I found that really interesting.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, particularly at the time, because CGI
Yeah.
was definitely coming into its own.
I mean, this is post Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
so it's interesting, and it was. I thought they did very, very well. Those are among my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So before we dive in, how much do you know about Howard Hughes?
Too much. I know a ton about Howard Hughes. Yeah,
I've read 2 or 3 biographies
Yeah.
on him. So I think this movie does benefit if you know something about him.
Agree. Especially the very first opening scene. If you
Yeah.
don't know anything about him, that comes off as very odd.
Yeah.
With him and his mother and the talking about cholera and disinfection and stuff.
Yeah. I think the movie overall does a fine and good depiction of his decline. But I think, again, you would benefit knowing a lot of the why of his behavior. He was very obsessive compulsive. Knowing a lot of these kind of disjointed scenes make a lot more sense.
And to be fair to him, he had obsessive compulsive disorder at a time when no one knew what it was.
Correct.
No one could recognize it, could treat it. It didn't have a name.
Yes.
So that must have been incredibly difficult for him to have a mental illness that you know at least has treatments now that people just thought was weird.
Yeah. A lot of the afflictions he had, his obsession with germs, was not something that was known about. I mean, they knew people had weird things with germs, but they didn't know that this was like a mental condition.
Exactly.
I will say this. This is one of my least favorite Martin Scorsese films.
Okay.
It is hugely ambitious. It is big. It is lush. It is gorgeous. It deserves the cinematography award for the massive scale that a lot of this does. One of my big problems with this, Martin has always been able to do violence very well with meaning. He's been able to do very big, complicated scenes and then also very small, intimate scenes. I don't think he pulled that off as well in this film as he does in, say, like Goodfellas or The Departed or some of his other bigger films.
I didn't see this as a Scorsese film, which I think is what
it doesn't
was weird.
feel
It
like
does
one.
not feel like a Scorsese film. Like I knew that it was, but I had to keep reminding myself when I was watching the film because of that. So no, I completely agree with you. So going back to, I'm just going to do a quick aside, the question about Howard Hughes. When he died, we were probably young-ish, not terribly young, but young-ish. And I remember being traumatized by a Time magazine. Like my parents got Time magazine delivered to the house. The photo of him upon his death. And it wasn't really a photo, it was a rendition of what they think he looked like. And that's why I got obsessed with Howard Hughes, because I'm like, who is this creepy, horrible man? And then you find out he was a good-looking guy, he was brilliant, he had like all of these wonderful successes, and it was so sad what happened to him.
I remember in one of the biographies that I read, they had they had discovered and found an actual X-ray taken of his body after his death, and he had 7 or 8 broken needles still in his skin that he'd been living with for years.
Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrifying.
I do think the film does a very good job of portraying of someone with money and their eccentricities and the obsessions. Like, I think that is a good portrayal, and watching him go through his obsession with aviation and getting things absolutely perfect is done very, very well in this film. I think this film has a lot of other problems that I'll get into.
I will agree with you on that. I think that, you know, kind of talking again, like one of the great things about this movie, I thought all of the scenes of the planes flying were amazing.
Yeah.
And to know, again, they were done with scale models. I thought they were great. And then I thought the giant plane crash was done exceptionally well, too. Like, I thought seeing both of those were really amazing. So I thought that was great. And when you're talking about the big and the small, I did think his relationship with Katharine Hepburn was really well done, because it did show kind of the rise and fall of a relationship, of how, you know, things go great when it's just the two of you, and then when her family is kind of incorporated it and he has to defend himself and be somebody different, he sees her being somebody different. Like, I really liked all of the scenes the scene with her family and what that meant for their relationship.
I question, though, is that because of her performance, which is stellar, or is that because of the actual portrayal and the writing? Like, she saves this movie for me.
She's very good. I think she's a little too much of a caricature, honestly.
Yeah, I can see that,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think that was done by intent and design, and she did give it her all to be the Katharine Hepburn that people have in their memory.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a fully accurate depiction, but I think she was going more for the way people thought she was, and I thought she nailed it.
I thought she was really, really good. I don't think she nailed it, and I'll tell you why later on.
Okay.
So, but for spoiler alert, I have a reason. But I thought she was very, very good. She captured her essence. But no, I liked that family scene not only because of Katharine Hepburn or because of Kate Blanchett, but because of all of the people around her and how they were treating him and how he was bristling. And I thought that was just a really interesting scene. And I thought she was probably the least important part of that scene.
I'm trying to think, and now that you mention that, I think every Scorsese film has some form of a dinner scene.
Oh, the family dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very important.
Again, if you don't know much about Howard Hughes, many of these scenes that are done and the things that he does, you would think were just made up and absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like the scene where he's interviewing the actress and it's like in the big warehouse and it's at night and all smoky. I mean, that is absolutely something he did to have those kind of moments. It was not an invented thing.
He didn't love that his girlfriend was 15.
No.
That was creepy and wrong.
Yep.
Did not love that.
Let's talk about the Senate confirmation scene, which is, I think, one of the better scenes in the entire film. That is very well handled. I like... the only thing I didn't like, and I don't think it was the acting, I think it was the direction and the writing, is, like... Basically, the scene is they're trying to get Howard to admit to the fact that he has wasted all of this money so that they can go after him. And he absolutely admits to it, but then starts to counter and bring up other things that the senator was not prepared to discuss and quickly turns the tables. I thought that was very well done. I didn't like Alan's character backing down so quickly and seeming so stupid. Because before that, he did not seem stupid, but in that scene, he crumbled way too quick for me.
So, unfortunately, that was pretty much spot on exactly what happened in the hearing. So, perhaps the scene behind closed doors where he seemed to be the smarter man that no one was privy to, that might have been, taken. That might have been, taken as fictional, or we should take it as fictional. They pretty much copied that Senate hearing for what actually happened, and he ruined this man's career.
Yeah, absolutely.
And should have.
Yeah.
Because, as discussed, he was a terrible person. But yeah, I agree with you on that. The thing that bothered me just in general is it had, a period of his life, and it certainly had the arc of OCD of how it's helping him in the movies and its business and all those things, and then how it finally is to the detriment of his health and relationships.
Yep.
So you've got that overall arc, and then everything else is just a scattershot of stuff.
So,
and I didn't see a theme.
That was one thing I was going to bring up as well. There are a lot of unnecessary scenes that don't really accomplish anything, except for like a little bit of character development.
Yeah.
The whole scene when the two of them go off on a plane ride on their date. Okay, we're seeing them get to know each other, but it does really nothing for the film and the overall story. So like, what was the point? There's a lot of those, unfortunately, in this movie. One thing I did read when I was doing the research, and it made me kind of be a little bit more forgiving, because people are very split on this movie. They either love it or it's like, it's the worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
But I did read, and I didn't get to verify it, but I did read that Michael Mann was supposed to direct and backed out at the last minute.
That would have been interesting.
And so Martin came in at the last minute, so this was not a project that he'd been developing, was really close to and attached to. And if that is true, that makes a lot more sense for this film to me.
That makes sense for what we're saying about it not being a Martin Scorsese type movie.
Yep.
And just in general that whenever it gets handed off like that, things get lost in translation.
Yep.
I never loved it or hated it. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a fine movie. I didn't think it was necessarily a Best Picture nominee, but given the pedigree, it was a Scorsese, DiCaprio, about Howard Hughes. It made sense to me, and actually, I thought Leonardo DiCaprio did a pretty good job.
Yeah, this is where he's developing actual acting chops.
Yeah.
He's not quite there yet. Like, The last couple films that he's done over the past like 10 or 15 years have been, his acting chops have been phenomenal. He has become an actor, whereas before he was just a movie star.
Yeah.
Which I find weird because when he was young, he was a really good kid actor.
He was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What's Edie Gilbert
Gilbert Grape? Thank you. Like, who, what, where, when, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so his first couple movies when he was young, I thought particularly for a child actor, I thought he was amazing. And then he kind of just goes into that star period.
Mm-hmm.
And then only recently as he developed, like, I'm a good actor.
Yeah, yeah. Nope, I agree with everything you're saying. It was fine. It was good. It was worth watching. One more little kind of picky piece is Kate Beckinsale. I did not see Ava Gardner in her at all.
No, I
didn't even get the essence of her, and I didn't understand what that relationship was there for, other than to show his descent into paranoia. But they could have done that with anyone, and if they were going to have that with, I think it was to show he had a relationship with Ava Gardner.
Yeah, it did seem kind of tacked on almost.
Yes, yeah, it did.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There were so many of the scenes throughout this that were just, they're there, but they don't do anything really.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, I'm with you. It was fine. I don't want my time back. This is only the second time I've seen it. I was trepidatious going in because I remembered feeling this way about it, and I was just reinforced.
Yep, I'm with you.
All right, shall we move on to Finding Neverland?
Let us go.
Finding Neverland, directed by Mark Forster, written by David McGee, based on a 1998 play, The Man Who Was Peter Pan, by Alan Nee. It stars Johnny Depp, Kate Winslet, Julie Christie, Radha Mitchell, Dustin Hoffman, Freddie Highmore, and then of course all the children. Was nominated for, I ran out of ink. So it was nominated for a ton of stuff that I cannot read at the moment. And it did win for one thing, some sort of technical thing that I can't read. But that was it. Go for it.
So I will make up the one line, which is basically, it's the story of the man who wrote the play Peter Pan, and his inspiration for that was meeting a widowed Kate Winslet and her children just before she passes away.
Fair.
Okay. So fun facts. So Freddie Highmore, who played the main, Peter of the children that he connected with, was actually then cast in Willy Wonka with him the next year because Johnny Depp had such a good relationship with him in this movie. They already had a kid cast for Willy Wonka, and they bumped him for this kid, for Freddie Highmore, who has had a continued wonderful career.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's been in a lot of things. He's now an adult, I believe.
Yeah, he's in that he's in some doctor.
Oh,
medical
yeah,
procedure
that's
right
right.
now.
The OCD doctor show.
Yes,
I've never seen it, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. And then going from children to older folks. So Eileen Essel, who played Mrs. Snow, she was the one who was desperate to meet him at the first opening and then didn't really care to meet him after she saw the play.
Oh, yeah.
And then he met her at the end, and she was widowed and loved the play so much. She was 82 at the time of the movie, and she had started acting when she was 79.
Wow.
So this was like one of her very first movies, and probably one of her very few movies.
Good for her.
Yeah, so I love that.
All right. I will start out saying I have a particular bias for this film.
Okay.
I love this movie so much.
Really?
It almost made my top 20.
Interesting.
I have probably watched it 10 times. For me, this movie has a lot of problems, but it's the emotional quality that you can very easily latch onto, or at least I can, that keeps me coming back to watch this movie again and again and again. One of the things that I love that the movie does, I think, incredibly well is it doesn't just have descriptions of things. They full on go into the fantasy of things, which I thought, and I think they handle those transitions both in and out very well. And I like the fact that they go for a full, like when they are playing pirates, you're going back and forth between them, like pretending to be pirates and then actually being pirates.
Yeah.
I love that balance. The film does capture the idea and concept of play, particularly childlike imagination, very well.
So interesting you say that. My very favorite scene is the pirate scene because I said some of the set pieces were lovely, but the pirate ship scene was glorious because you could see like the rolling waves that they had. They had what looked like wood, kind of just waving into each other, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And there was just so much imagination. It was it's a study in production design, and I do wonder if maybe it was production design that they won. But I haven't seen it that much, but I enjoy watching it when I do. It's a incredibly sweet story. I think Johnny Depp is at his finest in this movie.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
He is charming. The accent kills me. Whew. He is hot, he is charming, and he is lovely. And he nails it.
Yeah, he can do accents. Like
Yes.
he's been, he's done a ton of accents in a ton of different films. Sometimes his choices are a little odd, like particularly when he does Tim Burton kind of accents.
Yes.
But
he commits.
he does commit, and
He commits.
whatever it is, he does nail the thing he's going
Yes.
for. I think that's probably just a natural gift that he has and doesn't really have to work at it all that much because he has done so many. I mean, he does do a Welsh accent and carries it off.
Yes, yep, absolutely. And just the family too, like everybody, all of the children did have their own unique characters.
Yep.
You had the oldest who really became the man of the family by the end of the movie, and Peter and
Stood
everything
up to
that
Grandma.
he carried. Grandma herself, she was in no way a villain. She was basically, my daughter does not have money or prospects and therefore needs to remarry. And so you're getting in her way. And that was what she had to do back in that time. So she wasn't being unkind, she was being practical and realistic.
Yep.
And I liked that, and I also liked where, when she saw the play at the end, that she was the first one to clap for the fairy, that was so sweet. But yeah, I wrote down the same things, just so much childlike wonder in this movie.
This is a good study in how to tell multiple threads of a story to tell an overall story.
Yeah.
Because there are so many little side stories that all get their conclusions. You may not like the conclusion, but they all get wrapped up, and they're there to enhance the overall story, not just be a side story that's just there. Every little small thing does enhance the overall story that's being told, and they get weaved in beautifully. It's just a good study in how to tell a multi-complex story.
It's interesting too because it does have a sad ending, but it's also an uplifting ending, and everybody ends in a place that except for obviously Kate Winslet, in a place better off than they were before. So just a little bit better. He does. His wife does. The children certainly do. Julie Christie has her eyes opened.
Yep.
Interestingly, the one challenge I have with this is Kate Winslet.
In what way?
I think she's just underutilized. I think I did not get a feeling from this character that how she felt about Johnny Depp. I didn't feel that, was it love there? Was it appreciation for everything he was doing for her children? I didn't get the sense from her of what she was really in this for, or was it just joy after her husband had died? It could have been all mixed in together, but I really wanted to understand why was she going through this relationship.
Yeah, things do tend to happen around her, and she's much more of an observer, that even though she's such a central and pivotal person in the story, she's more on the, even though she's central, she's more on the periphery.
Exactly. And even when Johnny Depp says at the end, I loved your daughter, I don't know that he was in love with her.
No,
I don't think that he was.
And that's one of the criticisms that this movie has, and I'm not saying it's unjustified. Johnny's character from the entire time, I do believe, and I think the film supports this, was never in love with her. He was not trying to have an affair.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the time, for his station, he knew better.
It was very inappropriate.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm not saying, we're talking just for that time.
Sure.
It is perfectly fine for a man and a woman to have a wonderful friendship and relationship that has nothing to do with romance, sex, or anything along that line. But for that time, he comes across as being like, I don't know what you're talking about, all of this is fine, I have no bad intentions, but he had to have known better.
But even still, even today, I would say if that man is married and he is spending all of his time with a widowed woman with 4 children, I don't know that that's okay today. I think people would look askance at that.
Yeah, and okay, so that's one of the things that I did want to talk about. The wife is rather upset because he is spending all of his time with this family rather than with her.
Right.
And that is 100% justified.
Sure.
And I think a lot of times when people have watched this film, comment on this film, and even the film to itself does kind of set her up to not be justified in those feelings because of what he is doing and how innocent he is during this process. And I don't like that aspect. I wanted that to be developed fuller so that it is clear that she is justified in what she is doing and saying and leaving him for his behavior.
Yes, it is justified, even though it is fully innocent on his part.
Correct.
Yep, I agree.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask for you. Just a minor comment. Sometimes during Johnny's performance, when he's in play mode, the Benny and June comes out.
Oh yeah, it does. I did not see that, but now that you pointed out, absolutely. But yeah, I saw him as utterly charming, and it was truly about childlike wonder. And then when you see those children playing the orphans who are getting into the play and helping the adults around them find the joy and find the inner child, I thought that was beautiful.
And I thought it was handled just enough and just the right way. Peter's development with the trouble that he has with the death of his father and how play and fantasy and all of the things that are childlike are bad and I should not be embracing them because this is not what life is. And that slow transition where he doesn't abandon any of that, but he then comes around to embrace the idea that this aspect of life is also okay for me to do. I thought that was amazingly well handled.
Yep, I completely agree.
Overall, I absolutely love this film. I do believe it deserves to be nominated.
Yeah.
We'll talk at the end on whether it deserved it or not.
All right, sounds good. Can we go off alphabetical list?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to do?
We had 3 biographies, and
Oh,
I would
okay.
love to go to Ray next.
Sure
Because
thing.
we did, kind of like you said, the Howard Hughes, quite a bit of his life.
Yep.
And then you've got Finding Neverland, that was a very small piece of this man's life. And then Ray, which is kind of a cradle to grave, really, kind of story. So it'd be interesting to put the 3 of those together.
Sure thing.
Alrighty.
So Ray, co-produced and directed by Taylor Hackford, written by James L. White from a story by Hackford and White, they did it together. Stars Jamie Foxx, Kerry Washington, Clifton Powell, Harry Lennox, Terrence Howard, Lenz Tate, Richard Schiff, and Regina King. Was nominated for Best Actor for Fox, Costume Design for Davis, Best Director for Hackford, Best Film Editing, Best Picture, Best Sound Mixing, and it won Best Actor for Fox and for Best Sound Mixing.
All right, and basically the tagline is, this is the story of Ray Charles.
Yes.
But focused on, obviously, his musical career and his heroin addiction, I would say. So, fun facts. Did you know that I didn't know this, Jamie Foxx put prosthetics over his eyes and shot most of the movie actually blind. I did not realize that.
Yes.
Really committing to the role.
He was.
And then also, so through development of this, no studio was interested in financing or backing it, and it took forever to get the financing for it. They finally were able to get it from this one guy. They had to do an independent film, and then no studio would distribute it. And so they finally got Universal to agree to it because they had one executive who was a huge Ray Charles fan.
I heard that same thing.
And so they went forward with it, but it took forever to get this out there, which surprises me because biopics are such usually very popular.
Yeah, I think they're a lot more popular now than they were
maybe.
at that period of time.
That's fair.
I had read that once they got the financing, they all believed it was going to be, which was a very popular thing, particularly at this time and before, like a straight-to-video production. Like, we're just going to put this out, what would now be just like a streaming service, essentially.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
What do you got?
Right, I've seen this is my second or third time, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I love Ray Charles. I'm a massive Ray Charles fan. His music is just outstanding. I've read a biography. I really enjoy Ray Charles overall, and I do not like this movie.
I don't love this movie. I think because I like Ray Charles so much, it was interesting to me to watch what it told me about his life. I don't know that it was actually a very honest depiction. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but I didn't feel that it was. And the thing that bugged me out of everything was I loved that it was Ray Charles's voice most of the time, but when we went from Jamie Foxx, who had a much higher register, to then singing as Ray Charles, like, it was jarring every single time. You knew you were going into that. And I'm not saying necessarily that Jamie Foxx should have sung as Ray Charles. I think he should have. I like the ones where they at least give it a go, because he does have such a distinctive voice, but that bugged me every single time.
The way I look at this is an amazing performance in a highly flawed movie.
I would agree with that, because yeah, the shining star of this was Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
His performance was amazing. You could see Ray Charles in his mannerisms, and he wasn't mimicking him, he was being him.
The thing that I don't like about this the most is it seems that this was kind of like a paint by numbers biopic.
Mm-hmm.
Like it hit every single thing that you would expect a biopic to hit and didn't develop them all. It's just like, oh, here's the scene where we talk about the mother who is like, you could do it no matter what. Like, you know, believe in yourself. Like, there was every stereotype you would imagine was in this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't mind.
Trauma.
Yes. I don't mind stereotype, but you need to do something with it. You don't just present it. And that's all this movie seemed to do for me, was just present stereotype after stereotype after stereotype. Oh, now I'm going to get addicted to heroin, and that's going to be a problem. And
I'm going to sleep with women on the road.
Yeah, all of it, it was paint by numbers. It was not developing anything beyond stereotypes, and that bothered me. For a man like this, who did live a lot of the stereotypes,
fascinating life. Yes.
it needed to be developed more. Like I've said it many times in this podcast. Write another draft. This was a great first draft. Probably needed another rewrite or two to make it a great film.
I agree with that completely. So the biggest note that I had was, if it had gone into depth in any part, it would have been fascinating. And it didn't. It just absolutely was like, okay, and here's a very high level kind of broad brush of his life.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to talk about the biographies in a row is because Finding Neverland was such a very small sliver of time, and it was done really well. If they had done any of these stories, if they had done, you know, his heroin addiction, how he broke it, if he had done his cheating on his wife and how his wife dealt with it, like the relationships piece, if they had done his childhood and his mother, like any of those pieces would have been fascinating.
Yeah, it definitely took on way
too
too much. I think, particularly with the quality of actors that they had, if you still had this kind of cast, I think the more interesting thing that would have made this film fantastic is to really have Jamie and Regina play off each other far more. If that had been the story, like, you can give a little bit of the background to get to that aspect, but to watch the two of them and see the real deep nuances of what their relationship was would have been a far more fascinating movie.
And they had the chemistry.
Yeah.
They had the chemistry. I mean, like, Kerry Washington can do no wrong, don't get me wrong, but she was the good wife waiting at home. She didn't have much of a part to play. Regina King and he were electric together. And I totally agree. And also, I just feel like whoever created this and the people that created this, maybe we're looking at Ray Charles with a little too much heroism. You know, it definitely showed rose-tinted glasses, exactly. Like, they showed terrible things that he did, don't get me wrong, but it was really, his heroin addiction wasn't more debilitating. Like, he was a little jittery in some spots. I don't know that that's true. And, you know, and his wife got a little upset, but he kept buying her bigger houses, so, you know, everything was fine. Like, they just never really got to the part of, he had some demons.
Yeah. And
also, all those demons were exorcised through rehab. Fantastic, that was great.
And all the demons were done in flashback.
Yes. And his brother came back and forgave.
That's another part that bothered me, is the flashbacks that kept literally interrupting the flow of the film.
Yeah.
I can understand why they were there, they were necessary. I don't think all of them were, but I understood the amount, because they were almost perfectly paced throughout the movie, which I think must have been a conscious choice.
Oh,
like,
sure.
every 12 and a half minutes we're going to have a flashback scene.
Yeah.
It was A, too predictable, and B, we didn't need to see them all. We didn't need to see multiple scenes with his eyes all glossed over, trying to stare at something. And we got multiple scenes of that.
Yes.
One or two to make your point and move on. Beautiful performance, flawed movie.
I agree completely.
That's really all I have to say.
Nothing more to say about that, yeah. And it's too bad, because he had such an amazingly rich life that this could have been so much better.
All right, let's do $1 Million Baby then. We're flying right through this one.
All right.
Normally, I don't know if you've noticed, but our last 10 have all been over an hour.
Over an hour, yeah.
All right, $1 Million Baby, directed, co-produced, and scored by Clint Eastwood from a screenplay by Paul Haggis, also film director. It is based on stories from the 2000 collection Ropeburn, Stories from the Corner by FX Tool. Stars Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, Hilary Swank, a couple other people, but they really don't matter. I mean no
True
disrespect to
True
any,
enough.
but this is the three of them story.
It's the first that we're seeing of a few of those actors, so that's all, yeah.
Was nominated for Best Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, Supporting Actor, Adapted Screenplay, and Film Editing. Morgan did win the Oscar, as did Hilary. I know one of your facts is going to be the same that you mentioned before, where she stole it.
I actually wasn't going to because I've said that before, but yes, that is a fact.
It did win Best Picture that year, as well as Best Director for Mr. Eastwood. Go.
All right, so I mean, the log line is that this is the story about a female boxer who goes through triumph from poverty and ends up quadriplegic, who is euthanized by her loving coach.
Fair.
Fun facts. So the little girl with the dog at the gas station that Maggie notices in the next car was Clint Eastwood's daughter.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't realize that. And also the woman who played Blue Bear, who is the one who ultimately, gives the illegal punch, is a noted boxer and kickboxer and was Hilary Swank's boxing coach.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. Nice that they brought her in.
Yep. So very, very cool.
All right, I'm going to come out swinging with this one. This is one of my least favorite Clint Eastwood films. It does exactly what it's set out to do, and because it's Clint Eastwood, the attention to it, the crafting of it, everything is there. I just don't like the story. I don't think the story is, and that's not to detract from the story of a female boxer forming a relationship and going on. That's not what I'm saying. I think this story tried to take on a little too much, and I don't think it was enough, and I'm surprised that it won.
So I have never seen this movie before.
Okay.
This is my first time watching it because I knew about the movie, I knew about the ending, I knew that I would hate it, and my prediction came through. I had no desire to ever watch this movie. I'm only watching it for this project, and I hated it. And that said, there's a lot of wonderful craft behind it.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with you. I think the boxing scenes are incredibly well done. I think that Hilary Swank and Morgan Freeman both deserve their Oscars. I think their performances were outstanding. I think Clint Eastwood's performance was super flat.
Yeah,
which
he
is interesting. He's always understated, but he was just flat in this movie.
Someone had pointed out, and I agree, that this character is the same as the character in Gran Turismo. But Gran Turismo was a far better film, I think, than this one. It's kind of the same subject matter.
Yeah.
But that one explores it, I think, a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where to start.
It's two separate movies.
Yeah,
so, let's start
is
there.
absolutely.
It is the story of how, kind of almost a redemption arc for Clint Eastwood of trying to bring this boxer, and he brings her to the big show, and she is going for the title, and it's this relationship that they've developed, and it's this beautiful boxing story, and then boom, it becomes a story about the ethics of euthanasia, basically.
Okay, so let's talk about the first part first.
Okay.
Clint's curmudgeon-y attitude towards female boxers overall. You obviously know from that he's going to melt at some point, and that is going to change. I think the moments where that ends up happening, I don't think they're earned. I don't think they're developed well enough. They're just like split decisions. He becomes her manager because he can't keep his mouth shut knowing that the current manager is actually not utilizing her the way that she should, so he starts to step up, and the only way that he can actually say what he needs to say is to basically say, yes, I'm her manager, and then he becomes that. I get it, but it's weak.
I agree completely. Yep. I totally agree.
The movie also leaves me with a ton of questions. Why does she want to be a boxer? We have no idea.
Why did that start? Where did that
all we
start?
know is that she says, there's an offhanded line that she says it's the only thing that ever made me feel good, or something close to that.
Was her dad a boxer? Was, somebody in town, but everybody's laughing at her, so probably not.
There's tons of moments like that where we're just supposed to assume things along the way. And again, you and I talk about this all the time. We don't want to be hit over the head. We like a little bit of mystery and figuring things out on our own, but we need something to be able to accept the premises that we're being given, and we're just not given enough, I think, in this movie.
And I would say the biggest miss for me is the story behind him and his daughter.
Yeah.
Because clearly he did something.
Yep.
And we don't know how bad that was, but it's pretty egregious if she will not speak to him and keeps sending letters back.
Yep.
And he's got shoe boxes full of letters that he has sent to her. So he did something egregious, and yet, we're supposed to really admire and love this guy. And I still want to know what he did, because I'm kind of pro Katie at this point.
Particularly as that's how the film ends, with Morgan writing a letter to the daughter saying, "I thought you needed to know the kind of man your father really was." Why are we doing all of this for this person? Why? It's so apparent that the reason he ends up having the last part of the movie is because of the hole that he has with his daughter that he's trying to fill. She fills that hole, fine, we get it, and it all makes perfect sense, but we don't know enough about why he's trying to do that. So the end payoff, while we understand that it's why it's happening, we don't really understand why it's happening.
No, we don't. And the only other piece that I do like about him writing the letter is, again, I hate a voiceover. This one earns it only because it's Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman can have any voiceover he wants because he's got the best voice in the world. And it frames it as he's writing a letter to the daughter, which you understand at the end, so that makes the device okay, the device of a voiceover. One piece so there were two pieces I did like, and I don't want to give it, too fine a point, but one of which was I liked the arc with Danger. The kid who they said was all heart. And to me, that was like the only uplifting moment in the movie. At the end was this kid comes back and he's going to try again. And at least there's a glimmer of hope out there in the world. So I thought that was sweet. And I loved the relationship between Clint Eastwood and his priest, because the priest was hilarious. He knew the score. He knew that this guy was just kind of yanking his chain until the end, when he clearly wanted his advice. And I loved what the priest said to him when he was obviously considering ending Maggie's life. And he said kind of like, look, forget it's a sin, forget heaven and hell, forget the Catholic Church, forget that shit. You are never going to recover from this. You are not the person that you will live with this forever.
Right.
And I really liked that he was going for, he was trying to save him.
You could tell that relationship had probably started off very stereotypical priest and parishioner, but then because they've been doing it for so long, that the priest has just given up all pretense.
Yes, yeah.
and honestly, at one point says, "Why the fuck are you coming here?"
Exactly.
Like, what is your point? What is your intent? Why are you trying to do this?
He's paying penance for something that we still don't know.
I questioned initially the first time I saw it, like, why was all of that in there? But I then buy it, all of those scenes with the priest are in there so that you understand the relationship at the end. So when that advice is given, that advice actually carries weight and has meaning.
Exactly.
That's the only time this film does that.
Exactly. That's the only thing that it follows through on, which I really did like, and I did think that they did that well. And if they had done that in various places, and again, like, her family was so stereotypical trash that it was like, come on, that almost like that doesn't really happen. I know that there are some terrible families, and I know terrible families like them, but it's almost like they can't be that bad. So I don't know.
Yeah, the family was over the top bad, particularly mom. I mean, you could tell from right away just the things that she says, like, she's upset that they buy the house. You should have asked me, because now I'm going to lose all of these other things, rather than see it as the gift that it is.
Yes.
I didn't.
There's just not a spark of humanity in any of them.
And again, you wonder, why is that included? Like, is that only included so that we can have that scene where the family is basically trying to get her to sign the paper and then gonna put her, like, basically pull the plug, and he's allowed to step in? Is that the whole reason we went through that whole family thing? I
don't even think that scene is necessary at all. I think the reason they have them is so that she can say to him, "You're all I've got." And so once she said that, I never needed to see the family again.
Yeah, I
It
don't.
was pointless. Because to be fair, when she dies, the mother is going to get everything.
Yeah, well, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, then why even have the family at all? Just have her be a fucking orphan.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I don't know.
Yep.
Uh, I honestly, I'm surprised by how much love this film actually gets. And I get probably a big portion of that is because it is Clint and he is a very good film director.
Yes.
But this one, no. And I can already tell that we're going to disagree with the Academy.
But exactly. I don't know whether we're going to agree, but I know we're going to agree on disagreeing with the Academy.
Shall we move on to the last?
Let's do it.
Sideways. Directed by Alexander Payne, written by Jim Taylor and Payne. A film adaptation of Ray Pickett's 2004 novel. Stars Paul Giamatti, Thomas Hayden Church, Sandra Oh, and Virginia Madsen. It was nominated for Stuff Kid, but my ink ran out. It did win something, but I can't tell you what. Oh my god. I probably should have looked at this after I printed it. That would have been a smart thing to do. My apologies. It won something, but it was not Best Picture, and it was not for actors.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that is going to be my comment that I said wait for this, and we'll get into the whole movie and the fun facts, but Virginia Madsen, I think, deserved Best Supporting Actress over Cate Blanchett. And so we'll get into that as an argument later, but that's the piece around Best Supporting Actress that I wanted to have that conversation.
Okay.
All right, so basically it is a story of two men who go to wine country the week before one of them gets married. One of them is sad, depressed, divorced, and a little bit of an alcoholic and trying to be a writer. And the other one is a somewhat failed actor who is a little bit of a dog.
Yes.
All right. And hijinks ensue.
Yeah, I'll go with it.
Okay, so fun facts. After this movie, Pinot Noir sales went up 16% in the US, and Merlot sales went down 2%, which I absolutely love. I personally love Merlot and think I need to revisit that decision because of what I heard in this movie. And also watching it definitely made me open a bottle personally. So the other thing is Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor are the only screenwriters before and since who have swept every screenwriting award there was that year. Every one.
Wow.
They got the Oscar, the Golden Globe, the BAFTA, the WGA, the Critics' Choice, and the Big Four Critic Awards. LA, New York, National Board of Review, and National Society of Film Critics.
Huh.
So think about your Citizen Kanes, think about, every movie before and since, they're the only guys to do this.
And that makes perfect sense because, and we'll definitely dive into this, but I think the main strength of this movie is the writing, the story that's being told.
Absolutely.
And how it's written.
Yep. I have this movie on DVD. I adore this movie. I think it's funny, it's smart, it's real, it's annoying, and it gives you all the feels in all the right places. It is definitely flawed in a lot of ways, but as far as pure enjoyment, this is the one that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, this is the kind of movie that set out to accomplish something. Nothing big, nothing monumental. There was no sort of central theme that it was trying to promote. It wasn't someone with a big idea that they were trying to get across. It just had a story that it wanted to tell. There was commentary in that story.
Yep.
And it did exactly what it wanted to do, no more, no less. And I think that's awesome when that happens.
Yep, exactly. It's just people trying to get through life.
Yep.
And I loved, you don't spend very much time with, even the secondary characters. You don't spend time with Christine and her parents or Miles's mother.
Right.
But you know exactly who they are. You get a very good sense of who they are from the set dressing, from their costumes, from the way they speak, the way they interact with one another. So I absolutely love that. And the thing that I like most about this movie is it hits all of your senses.
Yes.
So, you see the beautiful landscape, you hear the dialogue and the words that are being said, and you can touch, taste, and smell those bottles of wine, the glasses of wine, the grapes, kind of everything that's going on. And touch, I would say, there's a moment of touch where Maya reaches over to Miles and puts her hand on his, and it's basically a green light, fella. Come on, let's do this. And he moves away. And moments before that, out in the other room, Thomas Hayden Church's character puts his hand on Stephanie, and she kind of leans into it. And they're like, oh, that's going to happen. So it's just like, it shows the differences even in touch. So I love that.
This movie is... I always hate and love when people talk about realism in movies, because it's a movie.
Yep.
So it's not real. But movies can hit on truth. They can be real in moments. And one of the things that I think this movie does very well is it does capture what it feels like, even as you're older, to be awkward in situations, not just romantic situations, but just situations overall.
Right.
His character is awkward.
Terribly
Always.
awkward.
And one of the principal ones, and you can see this, it's definitely something a 20-something would do, but it's also something that you would still do later on in your life, particularly as a guy. The scene when they're talking outside, and quick side note, one of the testaments to the writing is the monologues do not feel like monologues.
Exactly, yes.
But so she gives that beautiful monologue of why she loves wine, why
Yes.
she's a whiny, or whatever the term is.
Yeah.
And then there's a moment where you can tell she's like, they were getting closer, and
Yeah.
she was like, okay,
That's when she puts her hand on his.
and he doesn't. And then she gets up and goes to do something to kind of take the awkwardness out of the moment. He realizes his mistake,
Yeah.
goes into the kitchen to try to make up for it, thinking it's the same moment. It is absolutely not,
Yes.
and it makes it so much worse. But that is, you can see all of that happening, and that is a very real
Yes.
thing. Oh, I lost my moment. Is that moment still there? I'm going to try, rather than try to recreate and get back to that moment.
Yeah.
He's so awkward that he just goes for it and makes it so much worse.
Yep.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I talk about real, that it's okay.
Oh, it is, and Paul Giamatti is so good in this role.
Yeah.
He's so good in this role. Kind of like another moment of, it does so many of those moments of show don't tell, is when that first night happens, she is leading him away from Stephanie's in her car, and she's like taking left, and she's like, okay, your hotel is down there, take a right. And then the next night when they are together and they've had a beautiful day, and you see the montage of the gorgeous day that they have had together, they are both in his car taking a left. You know immediately they're going to her house and this is going to go well.
Yep.
And I just love the way that does that.
Yeah, the story, again, is what really propels this, but it's not even just the story. What I mean by that, and you've touched on it, I just want to reinforce it again, it's the language and how the things are being used, the words that are spoken. That's the thing that really propels all of this. The story is fine. I mean, it's not an uncommon story. We've seen similar stories before.
And it's not a big story.
No, it's a very small story. But it's the language that's used. It's how people are talking with each other. It's how they're interacting. And again, that's all just the language. I cannot speak highly enough about it. I do have some questions.
Yes, okay. And I have a few quibbles, so let's get to your questions.
I question the dynamic between the two friends.
Okay.
Like, Paul's character mentions at one point, after he lets loose that that Hayden's character is going to get married.
Yeah.
And Virginia's character is very mad at him, and he's like, look, he's just my friend. He was my college freshman roommate. And then that's the explanation that we get for their friendship. We don't really get a lot because they are polar opposites, and that can lead to a friendship.
Yeah.
But I don't fully buy it. I get, okay, here's what I get. He's such a closed off introvert, and he is very much an extrovert.
Right.
So in that case, I can see the two of them gravitating towards each other because one gets reined in and the other gets pulled out.
Yep.
Maybe that's it. But that's the only weakness I see, is I don't fully buy them being such good friends.
See, I totally buy it.
Okay.
Because, and first of all, I think it does show, Miles's mother knows this guy incredibly well, and even this guy's fiance's family knows Miles, and so, clearly they don't just see each other at reunions.
It's established they are good friends.
I see it as the extrovert who kind of adopted the introvert and he gets the hero worship.
Oh,
he
that
gets
would
the
make
hero.
a lot of sense.
He is a failing actor.
Yep.
He was on a big show, and now he's doing voiceover commercials.
Yep.
But he still has the hero worship of this guy who he went to college with, who knew him before he was anybody,
Yep.
saw him at his best, and still thinks of him that way.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Because Miles is dying to go on this trip with his friend, and he's planned it and all
Yep.
of this kind of stuff, and I think that he loves that adoration.
Because one of the things that we do see is he stands up to his hero a lot during this trip. Like, you're being a dick, an asshole. Like, he's calling him out for behavior and the things that he's doing, and get disappointed daily by his friend. I think that's probably one of the reasons that my mind was like, I'm not buying this friendship, but that makes sense. And then also that actually would make it a little bit better because the adoration is starting to be stripped, and that enhances the writing. So yeah, I'll go with what you're saying.
All right.
All the way.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What other questions do you have?
That was the big one, was
Okay.
the dynamic. I did want to mention one scene which, almost for this alone, Paul deserves a nomination. Because we hear about his ex throughout the entire thing, and then we find out that his ex is actually coming to the wedding.
Yep.
He finds out that she's remarried, and then she's bringing the husband, and then we get the interaction scene between the two of them.
Yeah.
And the emotional range that he goes through without saying much at all, you can see it. It starts out as awkward, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. A little embarrassment.
Yep. And then slowly it changes, and by the end, he's accepted, and you can tell, while he's not happy with it, but he is genuinely happy for her.
I think so. And also that conversation is what leads him to open his 61 bottle of wine.
Yep.
And so is it the I'm getting past this? Is it I'm just listening to Maya and this day is going to be great because it's the day I opened the wine? And not the day that my ex-wife told me she was pregnant, you know, and I just love that whole scenario around, you know, kind of making the day special, because it's special, not because you have to wait for something to be special to celebrate it.
Yeah, you could make a day special.
And I think that's what he did. He's like, I don't need to go to this wedding. I don't need to sit there and bask in all of the matrimonial happiness and, you know, celebration of my ex-wife. I'm fine with it, but I don't have to be there.
Yeah, and again, one of the reoccurring motifs, going back to the writing, is the cars at an intersection right after that scene.
Yes.
You see all the cars that are going to the wedding, and they all go to the right, and you see his just go to the left, and you're right. It's like, I don't need to deal with this. I'm gonna go do my own thing instead.
Exactly. Two things I do have quibbles with when it comes to this movie. One of them is it does get to be a little bit of a farce when he dates the waitress Cammie, and they have to, you know, I think it's hilarious when he opens the door and Thomas Hayden Church is there completely naked. I find it hysterical, but it turns into a different type of movie and a farce, and it feels to me like the movie was too short and they needed to add in some action, because there's really nothing in that is necessary except for his breakdown, which was unexpected and yet again real. Of I've got to get married, she's everything to me, and blah blah blah. Where did that come from? But sometimes that is what happens with people. Yeah,
you take your one step too far, and then you realize this is the things that are important.
Yes.
But I do agree, the whole scene of going and getting the wallet back, I think it was an unnecessary scene.
Yeah.
It would have been fine just seeing Thomas show up naked at the door and then having them have a longer conversation rather than go back and go
and then make a guy run after them and all that kind of stuff. It was funny, but it was entertaining but not necessary.
And I'd forgotten about that scene, honestly, because it's really not a big part of the movie. Because I'd forgotten about it because, I mean, it's full-on frontal penis. And I had a conversation, was like, when did that really start to become a thing? I was like, around this time.
Around that time, because when was The Hangover? Not long after that.
I don't know, 2005?
And this is 2004.
So
when it came out, so yeah, probably. And then the other thing that bothers me is, because again, I think that monologue and the conversation that Miles and Maya have is like a classically beautiful scene. Like that is one of my favorite scenes in film. And I think her performance is exceptional. Maya is just too good for Miles. Like, what is she doing with him? Like, why is she giving him this door open? And I hope she never sees him again. It actually makes me sad. It makes me sad for her. It's very hopeful and uplifting for him, but she's getting a loser, and it makes me sad. So that's my only problem, is I think Maya is far too good for Miles, and maybe, again, maybe she can be that nurturer of his Pinot Noir grape that gets him to a better place and creates a beautiful vintage, to use his kind of words, but I don't know, it just made me sad.
I think there's something that was not developed but is hinted at that she sees in him, which is potential and growth, which kind of mirrors back her whole conversation about why she's a wine lover. I think there are elements of that monologue that she has that she sees in him, which I think the film is trying to show that those are the things she sees. I think it could do a better job of that, but I think that's what she's seeing. She's seeing the potential in him.
Yeah, oh, and I agree, and I think that is definitely the point of it, but it just is, again, I think she's the one who's going to have to coax and nurture, and what will she get out of that?
Sure.
Whereas, you know, he's stealing money from his mother,
Yeah.
he's a clear alcoholic, he's got a couple of things going on. He needs some work.
Alright, I have nothing else for
I have
that.
nothing else.
Okay. I am going to, would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
I'm going to go first,
Okay.
and I'm going to say 100% certainty that you say $1 Million Baby should not have won.
That is absolutely correct.
And that Finding Neverland should have.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
While I love Finding Neverland, it is a movie near and dear to me. Again, we look at this with the checking of all of the boxes of everything. And I believe that the most boxes that were checked out of any movie this year were Sideways.
Really? All right. Cool.
And I'm going to guess you feel the same way.
100%. That is actually surprising. Good job.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love Finding Neverland far better.
Yep.
But again, when we're doing this,
What
we're
is the better
talking
movie?
correct.
Yeah.
And Sideways, I think, was the better movie. I really do.
Yep.
Performances, the writing is just so incredibly strong that everything else is
Flows
elevated.
from that. Yeah. I love this movie.
All right, sweet.
Excellent.
See
Thanks,
ya.
everyone. I also love Pinot Noir, so it all works out well.
Yeah, I had read that it killed the industry, and you know why he doesn't like it?
Why he doesn't like Merlot?
Yeah.
No.
It's his ex-wife's favorite wine.
Oh, I did not pick up on that.
Yeah.
Okay, whoops, am I right?
Nope.
No. I did not pick up on that.
Yep, it is his ex-wife's favorite
That makes
wine.